And we're live.
So how many games do you guys get? You think you could get suspended for standing over somebody and throwing them into a photographer?
That
How
was
many games?
Christian Coloco's welcome to the NBA moment right there. That was a moment for the young one.
Yeah, R.I.P. Caleb Martin. Um, Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are, whatever time it is for you right now. Just know that you are locked in onto the point with
Skip.
and the king. You guys know what to do. Go down there, click subscribe, click like, leave some comments. You guys can find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, which is hopefully where you're watching us right now. And if not, you're bootlegging and you owe us some money. And speaking of money, we would like to thank our sponsors. We do laundry.ca. You guys use the affiliate code to the point to get 5% off. They come to your door, they pick up your laundry, they wash, they fold, and they bring it right back for you. Okay? Now, and we also would like to thank you guys for enjoying our incredible guests, especially my man right there. I call him the babyface assassin, right? You guys should go check out his YouTube videos. They're absolutely great. Mr. Kenyon Nisbet, how you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I didn't get speared by Costco brand J. Cole. So I'm doing
Got me
great.
up all night. Anyway, and Skip, what's up, man? How you doing, man?
No, not too much. Same old, same old.
All right, all right. I'm loving that T-shirt right there. Can we see it?
All right, yeah. To the point. We got merch now. Remember, keep in mind, guys.
If you guys want, DM us and we can get you the T-shirts. We're also working on some other gear for you guys. If you guys want to represent us and represent the city of Toronto and represent your Toronto Raptors. I just want to say one thing before we get into all of this, guys. I did mention last time on our last episode. Uh, uh, I would like to say good things for Dikembe Mutombo. I'm happy that things are working out better for him, right? We all go through this in life. Everybody goes through an injury. Everybody goes through some sort of illness, some sort of sickness at some point in their life, right? It's just a part of life. And speaking of sicknesses, injuries, Scottie Barnes, man, guys, that first game against Miami where he tweaked his ankle, that really changed the game for the Toronto Raptors, which ended up in a loss for the Toronto Raptors. But, however, in the second game against Miami, they did bounce back. Now, Kenyon, do you have an opinion? Maybe you can educate us somewhere here in that back-to-back games. Well, back-to-back, not the same days, but the two games behind back and forth with each other, with Scottie Barnes and the Toronto Raptors, including his injury.
Sure. Yeah, I think that the first game they came out flat, and to me it was very obvious that they got in to Miami at around 4 a.m. because that's just the only way.
Yes.
Yes, I understand
I
that
heard it was
Miami
5 a.m.
it was
I
4
heard.
a.m.
Yeah.
But I know that Miami is they did have a back-to-back as well against the Celtics. But with that being said, it was a back-to-back at home, if I'm not mistaken. So they didn't have to deal with the travel. They didn't have to deal with that. So Raptors really came out flat in that first game, and it really showed until I would actually say, if I'm not mistaken, did the Scottie Barnes injury happen after? No, I think it
Happened before
Yeah,
the fight.
before
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan. So,
Yeah.
basically what happened is that once Christian Koloko got speared to the ground and literally,
That was Goldberg. Goldberg.
whoever
Pile drive.
pile drive, whatever. I'm not a big WWE fan, but for those of you out there, whatever, John Cena, cool.
I am.
Point
Shout out to
is,
Andrew Reid.
yeah. So point is that once that happened, the thing that I personally saw is that it really ignited the team to really go and push and fight back through that against the Miami Heat. And the thing that I've mentioned before, and the thing that you can expect from the Toronto Raptors this year is every single time, and Nick Nurse has said this, they will fight and fight and fight from beginning to end. They will fight. To quote Dwayne Casey, they keep coming like Freddy Krueger. And to me, that's how they came back. I think that there's a couple interesting wrinkles that I saw is that their defense really, when it gets turned on, like the end of both Miami games, but especially the end of the last game when they outscored Miami in that final quarter, 27-14. That is the Toronto Raptors. When you outpace them again, it was like something in the 20s again to almost like 14 fast break points. That is the Toronto Raptors. So that's how they fared. Yeah.
Thank you, Kenyon. Thank you for your insight. And you guys out there, go watch his YouTube channel. Great. Skip, I gotta ask you, based off of like we were just talking about, based off of Scottie's injury, where do you think the Raptors had to pick up in that last win for them to go 2-2 right now? Currently 2-2. Where do you think they had to pick up the slack? Was it on the offense or was it on the defense?
I would say it was mostly on the defensive end, because if you think about it, as much as Scottie is hyped as a big defender, as a great defender, as a developing defender, he's not really there yet. And the Raptors, when Scottie's not in lineup, they can roll out a killer defensive lineup. I mean, you got Van Vliet, you got OG Anunoby. OG Anunoby and Gary Trent Jr. early in the season grayed out as like two of the best defenders. I laughed when Albert Williams said that about Gary Trent on the broadcast, but the stats actually back it up. I think it's a small sample size. I think it'll come down. But then you put a guy like Precious Achiuwa in the starting lineup. I know he didn't technically start last game, but he played starter minutes. And Pascal Siakam's an elite defender when he has the energy to be and isn't focused on the offensive end. That's a great defensive lineup. And we saw they played really, really stifling defense against Miami in that game. And that was just, they kept saying, a rock fight, like a 90s style game. And yeah, you don't see a lot of 99-90 scores in the NBA anymore. It was a low scoring game, a really strong defensive showing from the Raptors. Now on the offensive end, I think it was more interesting to me for what we didn't see. So I think going into the season, the whole concept has been, all right, we're going to give Scottie the ball. We're going to give Pascal the ball. We're going to give our big guys the ball. We're going to spread the floor. We're going to really drive the paint. I didn't see a whole lot of that. I mean, Pascal still does it because Pascal does everything. He's a great player. That's what he does. I didn't see OG Anunoby barely touch the ball last game. He had a couple outside shots. That's about it. He was not really present. He was not handling the ball. He wasn't getting the ball in the paint. A guy like Thad Young didn't play at all last game. That's a whole other topic we might have to get into later. But Thad Young didn't play. He's another guy who can sort of play that role. So we sort of saw them, I think, kind of fall back into maybe old patterns, old habits. Like Scottie's not in there. Okay, Fred VanVleet, you're the point guard again. And then we saw some Malachi Flynn. We saw some Delano Benton, a little bit, not a ton. So I think that's maybe where the offense kind of went in a different direction than I expected. And to be honest, they won the game on the back of their defense, but their offense was not super strong last game. I mean, the third quarter, they were just completely shut down by Miami's zone. Really, really struggled for a long time. Even in the fourth, I mean, they took over, but it was mostly just, defense, transition, fast break. It wasn't that half-court offense is still broken, man. And we're going to need Scottie back for that to be fixed. But I would like to see them try to stick to this whole positionless mold that they've been touting. Even if Scottie's not in the lineup, like the whole idea was that it was everybody on your team was built this way. And I think they kind of fell back into some old habits on the offensive end.
Guys, thank you, Skip. Do you guys mind if I weigh in here real quick?
Sure.
I got some issues. My therapist can't figure them out. Okay.
Oh boy.
Okay, Skip, you just said right there what I enjoyed about that last game against Miami, the pulled out gritty win like they did the first game of the season. It was very defensive. It did remind me of when I was younger in the 90s, when I was in my teens. Yeah.
In the 70s?
Stop it. I'm not that old yet. But it did remind me of that. And that gave me a lot of hope. I really did enjoy it. I did see a bunch of great points from the Raptors, like especially like Precious Achua with how many rebounds? That was Dennis Rodman-esque to me, right? I was so happy. I was so proud. I was yelling at my TV. My mom was yelling at me because I was yelling at my TV. But I thought that was really, really good. Pascal was doing what Pascal does. Freddie, yes, Skip, you just said it. He had to. He was back again at the point guard. They did. I'm going to tell you guys this. I really did enjoy when Malachi stepped in because he was all about the business, right? He wasn't playing around. And again, it accentuates my point that I've been making for like the last 2 years that the Raptors have a bench that they can go to. And we've discussed this to nauseum with Nick Nurse not utilizing the bench that much. But then again, there are some players where Nick Nurse can bring them from the bench to the main floor. Like, especially like, I'm going to say this. Guys, follow me on this one. You guys saw on the group chat, I was not happy with Gary Trent. You guys know I'm not, right? Because when he's on, he's on. When he's off, don't give him the ball. Pass the freaking ball. But, however, he did hit that clutch 3-point at the end of the game, which was basically the dagger. Now, do you guys see any other players that are standing out for the Raptors that maybe they can utilize more? With you guys clicked on the thumbnail, Life Without Scottie. Do you guys see any other players that can pick up that role? You know, like take over on offense, take over on defense, take over in transition, somewhere along the lines, or do you think it's collective by committee?
I'm going to jump in on that real quick. So I already kind of hit on it. OG Anunoby, I think absolutely. He's doing a great job on defense. I just referenced the stat. I think he's rated as the best on points per possession defensively so far this season. But we saw in that last preseason game and the first game of the season, we saw an OG that was forceful, that was taking the ball, that was kind of involved in the offense in a very large, tangible way. And I thought what happened is against Brooklyn. I remember because I was looking at his points line for that game. Brooklyn really shut him down. They were actually guarding him really, really tough. And so obviously the ball went to Siakam because Siakam can do what he can do. But I think against Miami, we saw him kind of get away from it again and just really, there were a couple plays, didn't go his way, didn't go in. And then he was just very passive on offense for the rest of the game. I think he only ended up with 4 shots in the second game against Miami, something like that. Very low. Just like, and as much as as important as he is defensively, and he's very important defensively, he's very important as a floor spacer. You need this was kind of his opportunity to step up and be a little more forceful, be a little more involved. And I didn't see that at all. I also, well, I'll let Kenyon go before I get into anything else.
Yeah, Kenyon, get at him.
Yeah, so I think the OG stuff is partially fair.
Okay.
I don't think it's the fault of the offense. I think he needs to start grabbing opportunities. I think he needs to be a lot more assertive with his with how he gets his production. It's not just going to be handed to you.
Right?
Yes, and I don't think he has been. I think he's been waiting for someone to set him up, and yeah, that's all well and good, but like OG can't ISO, not at a rate that is efficient or worth it. There's one thing I really want to point out. So, well, actually 2 things. I want to push back a little bit on both of you, and what I will say is this: the Raptors actually shared the ball a lot better in that second Miami game, especially I would say the second half of that game. They really clicked as a team.
Yes.
And I will say, in defense of Gary Trent, while I don't like his shot diet, I do think that it is important to say that not all points are equal. There are some times that you will see a point and it will just decimate an opponent because it comes at the right time or in the right way. Like his 3-pointer to end, like you just saw their entire team get dejected. right
Yeah, it
after
was a
that.
dagger. It was over.
Yeah, and so while I will always harp on his offensive basketball IQ, I do think that for whatever reason, he is a tough shot maker, and he seems to make shots at the right times for whatever it's worth. So I think that's probably the first and most important thing. Siakam has been what I said he was going to be. I said that he had a good chance of taking a leap. And I think that the last Miami game when he struggled, it really showed that even though he was struggling with his shot, he was willing to distribute it. So to your point, yes, the offense has been janky, but here's the key, in my opinion. I think that what I've seen over the past couple of years is Nick Nurse really likes to experiment early on. And this is what the downside and the positive side that you will see later on in the season of winning and trying to develop at the same time. Delano Banton shouldn't be taking possessions to end a quarter. Okay. We see that. It's really weird. We see that here. I think that that's part of the reason why you're seeing like, oh, well, why isn't Dad playing? Or why is Dad playing over Koloko? Well, guess what? The 905 season hasn't started yet. So Koloko should be getting those minutes while he has a chance to try to see if he has something, to see if he can assert himself into this lineup. So I think that what we're seeing is the challenges of having an egalitarian offense, which I think is the right way to go for positionless basketball. But also, I think that it's the challenge of trying to develop and win. And you're going to see some, let's say, jankiness to start the season. Yeah.
Okay, wait, hold up.
Mm-hmm.
What, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, he was putting his hand up.
Yeah.
I've been waiting. I just wanted to go off what Kenyon just said.
Okay, go first. Go first. Oh, you want me to go first? Okay. All right. So I just want to say on the topic of the Raptors had more assists, the Raptors had a more egalitarian offense. Just look at the shot attempts. Almost all of the shot attempts. Let me see if I have it open in front of me.
I said that they moved the ball more in that second Miami game specifically.
So 22 shots for Siakam, 19 shots for Trent, 16 shots for VanVleet. Then 12 for Precious. The next guy had 5. So we're talking about 3 guys taking all the shots.
I can push back on that very easily. The thing is that there's a difference between looking at box score and just box score watching and actually seeing the process. If you looked at the process and looked at how they were generating those shots and generating those looks, where, for example, a perfect play is Koloko pick and roll with Fred VanVleet. He passes it to Fred VanVleet and he swung that ball so fast way over to the corner to Malachi. Good for the 3. You saw Siakam drawing in double teams in the post, kicking it out to Fred, who kicked it out, who swung it to the left corner to Gary Trent for the dagger, and that happened multiple times. So,
yeah, but yes. this is all Pascal Siakam, Fred VanVleet created. Okay.
There's a difference between, again, what you're arguing is, these guys are taking the majority of the shots versus that's different than saying that there wasn't ball movement. There was ball movement.
Okay,
even if they were getting the primary.
Okay, hold on. But Kenyon, just now on your prior point, you did mention that Nick Nurse is known for experimenting. This is off script. So I want to ask you guys, these first 10 games are going to be rough for the Raptors. They're already 4 deep, right? Because they're playing against some heavyweights. Okay. Do you think this experimentation should be executed now, as opposed to later when you're playing like Orlando or or whoever, Sacramento? Do you guys think that's feasible, or do you think it's a plus for them to actually do the experimentation right now and pull out some wins to see what they're really made of?
I can give you a response, but it looked like Skip wanted to say something.
I just want to say I don't really think he necessarily does experiment that much with the rotations, because look at the minutes counts. Like, you got your 5 starters getting 40 minutes a game.
I'm talking more about the offensive wrinkles and who's running the offense. Because again, like, Delano's not going to be running the offense come playoff time. Like, let's be honest, right?
Yeah.
But Delano's getting 5 minutes. Like, he's not even getting time to run the offense.
But still, they're giving him chances at the end of quarters. Like, he's not going to be running end of quarter stuff again come playoff times, unless something dramatically wrong or something dramatically good happened with his development.
But here's the thing: they don't have anybody else to do that. They're relying already too.
They could have done it with Scottie. They could have done it
Malachi, Scottie.
Well, Malachi and Delano. I'm putting them in the same boat right now. But yeah, bottom line, he's buying minutes with these guys right now, but he's buying minutes like it's the playoffs. Like he's buying like 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. I counted up the bench minutes last game. If you count Precious as a starter, because he basically played as a starter, they played 46 minutes. The bench played 46 total minutes in the entire game. Like that's a playoff rotation. That's not an experimental early season rotation.
So again, I want to just to bring so it doesn't go off the rails. I'm more so talking about offensive process and like how that I think that Nick Nurse really experiments early on with that. In terms of the overall which is different than the rotation. I agree. I have some issues with the rotation because I wish you would pick pick Malachi or pick Delano. Pick one and go with them for the game. Really let these guys know that they're going to get minutes and get consistent minutes, and also get the minutes down for guys like Fred. I think for that, we will see what happens after this first stretch of games because we're in one of the toughest stretches of the season. So it's tough. I think the other thing is, I know you wanted to touch on that, and maybe this is a way that we can get there, is Thad started training camp with an injury. And so maybe it is kind of slowly working his way back into the rotation. I know we didn't get like extra reporting on that, but I would be curious to know if that's part of the plan to conserve him because, you'll need him later on. And to answer Brian's King, Freudian slip, to answer that, I think that, I believe your question was about whether or not we should experiment now. I think now is the time you experiment. And the reason why is because if you look back to the championship year, if you experiment now, the time to experiment is early on.
A plus or is it a bad?
If it's that, then that's easy. It's a positive. I thought it was whether we should do it now or during our Orlando type games. I think you should do it early on in the season. And then as the season goes on, you tighten up whether it be rotations, you tighten up your wrinkles, and you have more set, I guess, wrinkles, if you will, or complexities. I think that that's the better way to go. And the reason why is really simple. The more you experiment early on, if you have to get thrown into a place where, oh, shoot, what do we do? Because X player's out or whatever wrinkles out, you've seen that before. You can, it's not new.
Yes. Thank you, Kenyon. Okay. And you're just leading into my next question right now, brother. Okay. The one
Hulk Hogan. Sorry. Well, listen here, brother.
Should we say Caleb Martin?
But okay, listen. With the way the Raptors are playing, like what we're discussing on the offense and defense, we cannot deny their transitional game, regardless of who they're playing. Now, and as we're speaking about experimenting, as they're playing the tougher teams of the Eastern Conference start the season, right? The teams that they're poised to be against and could possibly be playoff partners, right? We cannot deny their transition game. And now coming up, we're going to see
the Spurs.
We're going to see that the next two games against the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, the 76ers are rated, I don't know if you guys saw this, I think we might have spoke about it earlier, but the Sixers are rated last when it comes to transition defense. Do you guys think, let's preview it a little bit for everybody out there. I'm pretty sure you guys have the questions out there. Do you guys think the Raptors can utilize that experimentation with certain players out, their offense, their defense, the different rotations? Do you think they can utilize and really capitalize on the transition game against the Philadelphia 76ers?
Kenyon, I'll let you take that first.
Yeah, I mean it's how the Raptors play, and I think that that's the way that you beat Joel Embiid, especially with a guy like Koloko, where he is, a younger, rookier, uh, style center. You have to
Rookier?
you well, yeah, you have to basically wear them down because you can outpace them. Because a guy like Harden is, not as quick as he used to be. A guy like Embiid wears down and usually only he has to take breaks. Whereas guys like Siakam, like as we saw last year, he can play 40 minutes and just keep on going and going and going and going. Right. And so to me, I think transition is the way that you win those things. I think transition is as well as the willingness to get have Dennis Rodman on your team. Which shout out to Nick Nurse, by the way. Nick Nurse actually did coach Dennis Rodman in England actually when he was
Yes,
44
he did.
years old. Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
So yeah, fun fact of the day. So maybe that's where Precious gets it from. I think if you do that, you can definitely win. And personally, I know it's probably going to come up anyways. I'm predicting that they will win both games in Philly. One game will be tough, the other one they will win. Last year they went 3-1 to Philly. And so yeah.
and then what happened?
Well,
Oh,
that
Skip, come on,
again,
get over
playoffs
it.
are different. If you really want to go there, I guess.
Get over it. And Bede's gonna be crying.
And think about it this way: the Raptors want revenge, so they have
Yeah.
reasons to come out for these games and be ready. So
Skip,
it's going to be good.
Skip, what do you think? Do you think that transition style and the experimentation on the offense and the defense can help them persevere
Well,
through
it's just like looking back at the playoffs last year, right? That was the stuff we said was key.
different story?
It's different in the playoffs,
But isn't
obviously,
that the
because
stuff that worked when we actually executed well, and that's what got us back?
Exactly.
Even with
yeah,
that third game, a lot of people discount that third game, but that third game really could have and should have. And I've went back multiple times, and even JJ Redick has said that we got cheated on that final play in multiple ways, whether it be
Yes.
Doc Rivers being a goofy coach and running out onto the court, which he's not
Yep.
supposed to be, whether it be an illegal screen by Tobias Harris on Precious Achua. I can go on and on and on. There were about 3 instances where we should have won that game. And had we won that game, guess what? Would have been a different series. So you can say whatever you want to say, which is fair. But I think that series doesn't get the credit that it deserves for how close it actually was, given that we
Well,
had
well,
people.
let's
sure,
see how
sure.
let's see how fair it is. Skip.
Well, stop me if you've
Again,
heard this one before. The Raptors are playing the Sixers, and Scottie's out with an ankle injury. I mean, so that's the other thing is like it's a lot's going to depend if Scottie's back for these games because Scottie is a difference maker in the series like this. I think transition is obviously going to be key, though. I mean, obviously that's how the Raptors play: possessions, transition. They're going to have to dominate that to win these games. But obviously, Philly's been really struggling to start the season. Harden's really been super ball dominant. So it's really going to come down to a guy like OG Anunoby shutting down Harden, and then this might be the game where they try to get Embiid more involved and get Embiid back into rhythm. And then
Oh,
it's
so
going
he's not
to,
shooting 0-7, right?
yeah. So, yeah.
Sorry.
So, I mean,
Just checking. Just
that
checking.
this might be actually a big game for Philly or big 2 games for Philly in terms of getting them to be more of an equitable offense and more of a balanced two-headed monster instead of Harden dominating all the time. I think that's what they're going to be going into this set kind of looking to do. And the Raptors are going to have to cope with Embiid because I think a guy like OG can hang with Harden. He can hang with anybody in the league, but yeah, so it's it'll be an interesting couple of games. I'm not predicting 2-0, but I think I'm expecting a split. I'm expecting some tough games, and it'll be a fun rematch.
okay, guys, we're pressed for time, so let me just give me a one-word answer, just or one sentence answer. Skip, I'm looking at you because I know you take too long. Give me a
I just
one-word,
I just have longer
one-sentence
sentences than you. That's all.
answer. Okay, yeah, I know you're a writer. Give me a one-word or one-sentence answer on your thoughts on Christian Koloko from what we've seen so far.
Kenyon?
Yeah, well, he asked you first. The
Oh.
one takes longer.
I think his defense is pretty much there. His offense is not quite ready. There's lots of little things he's going to have to work on over the course of the year, either at the NBA level or the G League level. But I'm really excited for what he can become, and I think he's got Raptors stamped. He's got Raptors players stamped all over him.
Kenyon?
I mean, I did say he would start at some point in the season, and I did say he would get minutes during
I
the
agree
season.
with you.
So
Four games in.
100%
Was that your prediction?
I didn't predict games. I just said that he would, and you doubted me. You know, it's okay. It's okay. You got to take your medicine sometimes, and
His offense is so much better than it was in summer league already.
It is.
Skip, doesn't Buckley's taste like garbage? Take your medicine.
Exactly. I will say this. This is something that Tim and I, but actually mainly I actually touched on, which is his passing flashes, and you saw that in the Miami game. He made two really good reads that were really they were more advanced, and he looks really patient with the ball, and I really like him. So him and Precious are kind of like polar opposites in terms of like how they view reads and stuff like that right now. And I'm excited to see him grow as a player.
Awesome. I think he's going to do well in this league. I think that was a diamond in the rough. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, it was predicted here first on To The Point that he will be drafted by the Toronto Raptors. I'm going to harp on that. I'll stand, live, and die on that hill. Guys, this has been a good conversation. Kenyon, my man, thank you so much, brother. I cannot wait to see you. Skip, yeah, whatever, man. But this has been a good conversation. We appreciate you guys out there for supporting, liking, commenting, and letting us know your thoughts, because it's not just what we think, it's also what you think and how you feel, because you guys are the Toronto Raptors fans. You guys are the engine that's keeping them going. It ain't Lowry no more, and it's kind of sucked to see him on the other side last game. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So, do you guys have any final things to say, real quick? Because we're running out of time. Skip. Oh my God! Here we go. Another 20 minutes.
I think I hit most of my points. I'm just gonna say, got to figure out those minutes, man. Like starters can't be playing 45 minutes a game in the fourth game of the season.
Kenyon?
Two really quick things. First of all, I have been debating which breakdown that I wanted to make next, and I've written things out for both. Definitely.
You guys leave it in the comments. Let them know.
Well, no. Stay tuned. It's probably going to be about Siakam. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, if I can plug myself for a second.
Go ahead. Please, by all means.
Definitely. For this season, I'm going to try to hit maybe not all, but most post games. We're still working out the bugs in terms of getting the stuff posted all the time. But yeah, you can find me at Basketball Zone, and that's where I will be for post games. But I will still be here for more longer form content.
We're a family. Hopefully, we can be on yours.
Absolutely. So. We will talk, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they do for the next tough stretch.
Speaking of shameless plugs.
Is that a different color than Skip's?
We got white and we got gray.
Hey, you guys need to be telling people about this.
We got it all out
in multiple colors.
We're already sold out.
Yeah, we gotta get our backboard sorted out right now. Yeah.
We're getting a new batch. We're getting different colors. We're also going to be doing pink to support breast cancer as well. We're also going to be doing other colors to support different charities, just so there is awareness out there. So you guys can DM us. Let us know what you want, what size. We have no problem with taking care of that for you. It might take a little bit of time. So that's all I got to say, like, speaking of shameless plugs. But on behalf of myself, Skip, and my man, the babyface assassin, Mr. Kenyon Nisbet, on behalf of all three of us, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good night, and
peace.